All right. Parks Committee will come to order. And let's see here. We will note that Alder Campbell's present, Alder Eck is present, Alder Weary present, and Alder, who's our other fellow? Stoyer is excused.
West Side.
Sorry, Mark. We have the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll do that.
You could.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank
Can
you.
you see that? Can you say?
Can I get an approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Eck, second by Alder Campbell to approve any changes. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And D, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Eck, second by Alder Campbell to approve the minutes. Any changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Regular business, number 1, consideration with possible action on the request by Wisconsin Public Service to relocate the existing utility easement along the East River Trail, just east of Baird Street. Hello, Director. How's it going?
Good, good. So yeah, this request relates to a public works construction project that is currently in the process of being engineered. So they plan on reconstructing the sanitary sewer that crosses the East River at Grove Street. And the siphon that's there is aged with a significant amount of infiltration getting into that sewer pipe. So they'll be replacing it with a new sanitary sewer line. In order for them to do the work, Wisconsin Public Service will have to reroute their wires that are located in that easement, so they are going to have to modify the easement that's there. So it's WPS's easement request because they require an easement whenever they do work on private property, or in this case, public property. But it's being requested by the city of Green Bay to do this work. So I would recommend approval, and I don't have any concerns with the easement as drafted.
Questions? Motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Eck, second by Alder Campbell to approve. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carried. Number 2, consideration with possible action on the purchase of a 2024 Ford Super Duty F-250 four-wheel drive regular cab truck with snowplow from Ewald Automotive Group for a total of $55,885.
So this new truck will be replacing Unit 27, which is a 2008 Ford F-250 with a plow. So we use it for a number of different things in our parks, but primarily in the winter for plowing, but it definitely is used for a lot of miscellaneous maintenance activities. So this was quoted by the purchasing department through the state of Wisconsin vehicle purchase contract, so they piggybacked off of their quote and PO, and so that's how they would like to handle this one. And in 2023, the city bonded $52,500 for the replacement of this vehicle. This is a few thousand, the quoted price is a few thousand more than what was budgeted, but we will be seeing a cost savings in the next item that's up for discussion. And so the cost savings in the next item will fund the difference of the shortage of this one. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, otherwise I would recommend approval.
What do you do with the old one?
We usually sell those and sell it at auction, and whatever price we get, we usually build that cost into our bond request. So when we bond for new equipment, we take into account what we're going to get for sales for our old equipment.
I just took a ride through the beach the other day, before it opened. I was looking through all the construction and stuff.
Yep.
And I noticed a bunch of older vehicles sitting there. I don't know if that one was there. There was a Chevy and a couple. They look pretty tired.
Yeah, that one wasn't the one that's being
Yeah.
replaced.
Yeah.
The
It was
one
the shop,
that
yeah.
we're replacing is at the shop. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's an old vehicle that definitely needs replacement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Eck, second by Alder Campbell to approve. Any other discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh,
Just one more. What's it? I'm sorry. I meant to ask you, what's the Ewald Auto Group? Is that someone local or what?
Truthfully, let me just, I don't know if they're local. I don't think they are, but let me see if there's an address on the
I think it
quote
has.
package.
I don't
a lot to look through in that packet on things.
The quote package does not give an address of their.
So where you usually buy from then, or
What's that?
is it where you usually buy from, or what's the lowest
I
bid?
I would have to defer to the purchasing department. Like I said, this is part of a larger state quote, so this isn't necessarily a local purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't see an address of the company location on their quote package.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. We'll redo our vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 3, consideration with possible action on the purchase of a 2024 Ford Super Duty F550 DRW XL four-wheel drive regular cab truck with a plow from Ewald Automotive Group for a total cost of $65,455.
So this is a larger truck than the previous one we talked about. This is replacing Unit 22, which is a 2000 GMC flatbed truck. This will also have a plow on it. So this was, again, quoted through the purchasing department through the same state of Wisconsin vehicle purchase contract. They piggybacked off of a previous quote and they're purchasing it this way. In 2023, the city bonded $135,000 for this piece of equipment. And as you can see, the quote is significantly less than that. But that's because we're just buying a partial truck. So that doesn't include the cost of the truck box or the hoist, which we're going to buy from a separate vendor. Those additional purchases are under $25,000 each. So those additional purchases don't need to go through your committee for approval, just the purchase for the truck itself. And there still will be money left over out of that $135,000 when it's all said and done to pay the difference from the previous agenda item that we discussed.
Questions?
So both of these vehicles were put in the budget from last year?
Correct. They were in our last bond request, which was approved in the spring of this year. So these were the dollar amounts that were approved for these specific vehicle purchases.
This is for parks.
Yep. This is another one that is just a general truck for general plowing and maintenance throughout. It's not for a specific use, but it is specific to parks.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alder Rick,
Second.
second by Alder Campbell. Any discussion? That's to approve. All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carried. Short agenda tonight.
Yes.
Informational. First one, staff update on the proposal by GB Real Estate Investments LLC for an official map amendment to extend Hinkle Street from West Mason to Hobart Drive, running through the northwest corner of Beaver Dam Park. Director.
So I gave you the handouts of two maps. So these are the same maps that are in the agenda packet. It's just I thought it'd be easier to see it on paper in front of you than on a computer screen. Let me give you a little bit of background here. So this is adjacent to Beaver Dam Park and MacArthur School. It's just to the north of the park. And there's a developer who is here in the audience, if you have any questions, who would like to extend Hinkle Street off of Mason, extend it through this private property to the north of the park and connect to Hobart Drive. So it'll kind of turn westward and connect to Hobart Drive. In order to build that road for a future subdivision plat, the only way that they can make that work is to actually run the road partially through Beaver Dam Park. And so you can see in that aerial photograph how close it gets to our ball fields that are there. And primarily what they're running through in the park is a wooded area with mature trees. So there's some significant oak trees in there. In fact, right next to one of the ball fields, the closest ball field, there's a 52-inch diameter oak tree that would more than likely have to be removed in order for this road to go in. When the subdivision plat comes through, we have a tentative agreement with the developer that in return for allowing this road to go in through the park in this location, they would then donate approximately 20 acres to the park. And that's kind of that area highlighted in green that's called Future Park Addition. That is all heavily wooded also. So the trees that we're losing, although it's substantial and is a concern to the residents in the neighborhood, the city would be greatly expanding the park to the north and the east. Now, I would say quality of vegetation is pretty good directly to the east of the park, but all of the vegetation north of the park is not in very good condition. So it's a series of invasive species, a lot of dead ash trees, and a lot of wetlands to the north. But what we're getting in quality of trees to the west, in my opinion, makes up for what we would be losing within the park. Now, the reason that this is informational only is because at this point, there's really nothing for your body to consider and approve. This went through the Plan Commission on Monday, and what they're actually proposing to do right now is an official map amendment, just changing the road configuration. So it's not even allowing them to build the road necessarily, it's just putting a placeholder in the official city map showing where the roads would go if roads were ever built in this location. Now you can see on this map that there's kind of a green S-shaped line through the future Park Addition property. That is an official road alignment that's already there, but it cannot be developed as a road because there's a navigable waterway that runs right through there. And per DNR rules and restrictions, you can't fill in that waterway to build this road. So what they're actually proposing to do is eliminate that right-of-way that's shown in green and reconfigure it to what you see on this map in the dashed area that cuts through the park. Now, the park committee will get a chance to weigh in on this if it comes to a point where the developer wants to formally propose a subdivision in here. Because at that point, that's when we would be looking at the property trade agreement and what other needs there'd be in the parks to accommodate this. So other discussions we've had with the developer is that gets very close to the outfield of that ball field. As part of the subdivision plat and the agreement, they may be required to do some taller fencing or some netting so that those balls don't get hit into the roadway. They might have to do a retaining wall there depending on the grades of the road and how everything fits in there. Or, worst case scenario, they might have to relocate the ball field altogether and move the entire thing south. Those things we haven't worked out yet because they haven't officially platted the subdivision and haven't surveyed it yet. So all that they're looking for right now is kind of approval to change the official city map to the new road alignment. And I was not at the meeting on Monday, but I did watch the first portion of it on video. And then I watched the motion and I noticed that they did approve this on the official city map. I think there was one person who voted against it and everyone else voted in favor with a minor modification to the road alignment to try to keep it to the north and not go as far into the park. There also was some opposition at the Plan Commission from residents that were against losing parkland for this new proposed road. But like I said, the Plan Commission approved it. This is informational just to let you know that of the discussions that are being had and to let you know when your chance is going to come to weigh in on this. Obviously, as a council member, you can weigh in on what your opinion is at the council meeting next week in relation to the Plan Commission's recommendations, but there really is nothing as a park committee for you to approve or deny at this point. So that's a brief summary. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those questions. If you want to open up the floor, the developer's here to answer questions if you have questions, but I'll leave that up to you.
Committee?
I was at the Planning Commission, which maybe Director Duchek knows that. So I do have a question about that tree, and it may help, I guess, to open the floor because the developer, Mr. Bader, had said that you mentioned that you were hoping that he would protect that oak tree. That you were referring
Yeah,
to.
I can tell you based on the graphic you see here, I don't really see that there's a way that you can protect that tree with the road alignment as shown. If there's a way to realign it to get it away from the tree, then possible. But like I said, that is a 52-inch diameter oak tree that's right at the outfield fence there. And our forester recommended that per standards to safely keep that tree from construction damage, you would have to stay 75 feet away from the trunk of the tree. What you see in here is an 80-foot right-of-way. So you simply will not be able to save that tree. You could build the road right up to the tree and hope for the best, but I would say there'd be significant root damage, and within 2-3 years that tree would be dead, even if you thought you could save it.
And then, sorry. is that
Yeah,
okay?
go ahead.
Secondary, are any of those trees registered? Anyway.
Our forester was not aware of any of these trees being on the official record of being, the record-sized trees in Brown County. There is a record of that, and he wasn't able to find this tree mentioned there. Now, there are some other larger trees to the west of that, which is kind of north of our open shelter, and all of those trees will have to be removed within that right-of-way. And none of them are as significant as the one by the fence line, but they're probably 35-inch trees, oak trees. So there's some significant trees that need to be removed in order for that road to go in. But like I said, there are some really good quality trees to the east of the park, which the city would be gaining in return for this. So again, I have expressed my concerns to Garrett with the desire to try to save that tree. But if that road is on parkland as shown, there really isn't going to be a way to save it. It'll die.
Okay, and there was some things brought up about MacArthur School, and obviously it's right in the middle of park property, the school. The school's coming down. I know you're on that committee, and correct, it's coming down.
No formal approvals have been made by the school district. The committee made a recommendation to
okay.
the school board. The school board, because of all the opposition to the recommendation, the school board is taking a second look at it. And they have not come back with an alternative recommendation yet. So
Okay.
I don't know, there's a possibility this school could stay, or there's a possibility it could go. Depending on whether it stays or goes, we don't know what the school district has in mind for that school. Whether they're gonna sell it to a private developer, whether they're gonna donate it to the city, or sell it to the city for parkland. Those discussions have not happened, and they're not going to happen until there's a formal recommendation by the school board on what's the big picture is for all of these schools.
Okay, and I thought that you had mentioned it would become part of the park, so,
There's a potential, but that is not set in stone, and really, we've had no discussions with the school district on that, other than there's a possibility that it could become part of it.
okay. And I realize that's aside from what we were voting on, or we'll be voting on Tuesday, but it got brought up, and I had additional meetings, because this is in my district. So Friday night, we had a neighborhood meeting for people to come, and that was brought up, so I'm just trying to get those 8 questions answered. I'm going to make a motion to open the floor.
Second.
Motion by Alder Eck to open the floor, second by Alder Campbell. Discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anybody here for this item? Come on up, and I don't know if you have any, come up and give us your name and address.
Garrett Bader, 300 North Van Buren Street. Not much more can be said than what was said, but I'm happy to answer questions that people may have.
Committee, any questions? Alder Campbell?
I wasn't at the meeting. What kind of development is it going to be?
This request Monday, it ties to what we're talking about tonight, what we'll talk about in a little bit too, is the broader plan for this West Mason corridor, new residential, upgrading the commercial, hopefully improving the access in that area. So in this immediate area right here that Dan's referencing, it's new single-family homes to the north of the park along the relocated or new Hinkle extension.
So,
Anything else, Alder Campbell?
sorry.
You wouldn't want to steal us.
No, that's okay.
Single family, that's kind of what I was wondering.
All right, thanks, Alder Eck.
Already's one more.
Okay, he's got another one.
He took it
Market
back.
rate or low income or what?
I'm sorry?
Market rate?
There's a market rate, and we were saying the other night that market rate homes these days start at about $400,000. Just
They're
kind of
they're
crazy to
single-family
hear.
homes.
Right, these are single-family homes. Owner occupied, designed anyway.
And some would have their backyards against the park.
I mean, really a big attractive piece here, you have the woods there, so whether it's on private land or public land, you're on a wood spot.
Alder Campbell, any other questions? Alder Eck, go ahead.
Okay, so I know you mentioned the tree.
Mhm.
Any other things you want to say about that?
Not really, I mean, we are working, we did get the CAD for that area, so we are trying to, much like the comments Monday night and what Dan has referenced to nudge that street as far north as we can. Now, when you do that, of course, there are questions of radius and speed limits and turning and what we have to look at in designing the actual road. But we'll try to push it as far north as we can to try and protect it if we can.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I played softball there, played softball there, and I know that tree, we call it the Homer tree, so it's a big, beautiful tree. I mean,
Homer trees.
yeah, you hit the tree.
Does that mean you're hitting it, though? That's the,
Yeah, with the
that's the
home run.
question.
You get a home run if
If
you hit the
Bragg-
tree?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
outside center field, yeah. But we're gaining, quite a bit of land, so you have to look at your trade-offs, but hopefully we can do something creative. I don't know if we can even purchase land from the private property just to the north. I don't know if that's a single-family
We'll try
home
and
or
do
if
some
that's a
layouts
big
and
land.
we'll see where we are.
Yeah,
What, high-income tree house?
yeah.
Treehouse?
Utilize it for.
But it looks like an intriguing project, and look forward to seeing more about it.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the committee? Anybody else here for this item? No? All right.
Thank you. Motion
you.
to close the floor.
Second.
Motion by Alder Campbell to close the floor, second by Alder Rack. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. One item, if you could, Director, online and then even in what we printed off, it says exiting park. If you think it's supposed to be existing. I don't want anybody to look at that and say, oh, look, the
That's
park's
funny, 'cause
exiting,
I
we're
read that
losing the
too.
park. Yeah.
What does that
So I
mean?
just don't want anybody looking at it to think
Okay.
we're exiting from that park. Any other questions? Otherwise, a receive and place on file would be appropriate, and I'm sure we'll see this in the coming months or weeks.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
Motion to receive and place on file by Alder Eck, second by Alder Campbell. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 2, Director's Report on updates and recent activities.
I have no updates other than what's in the report. I will say that our new ride that we purchased for Bay Beach Amusement Park, the W's ride, will be arriving this week. We still have a little bit of site work yet to do, so it'll still be a good month before we actually get it up and running and open to the public, but at least it arrived from Italy, so that's good.
So what does that make it, the end of August?
It'll be end of August when we open it, more than likely, but I don't have a firm date at this point.
Where are the new bumper cars?
They are still in transit. We have a delivery date set. Again, those are arriving from Italy also. And they've given us a delivery date, but we don't have them yet.
I was on the bumper cars and I was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be more here.
Just one other note. Is it Jason? Sounds like when all the rides were broke down, I met him one day at the yacht club where Dan, my friend, used to work there too. And I want to give kudos out to him because he put in a lot of long hours to get all them 7 rides that were down up and running or whatever.
Yeah, and
I said I'd put a word in for him.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you recognize that. I know Jason did a lot of work, but our mechanics really stepped it up, and they worked very hard. We had 4 or 5 mechanics out there every single day trying to get the rides up and running, and they worked hard. They're proud of what they did, and I'm glad that you noticed it. So.
Yeah. I had good discussion with him. In fact, he had to get online and go out and find some of the parts for it himself, and I'm like, well, you had to do that? You know, he told me some of the stuff, the gear had to get made or whatever, and it's the only way it would have got up and going. Yeah, he was in sweat from here to here. I think he had just come from there, but he had an ice cold beer in his hand.
Motion to receive and place on file?
All right.
Second.
Motion to receive and place on file. Eck and Campbell. Discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Next meeting is August 16th, tentatively. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Eck, second by Campbell to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. As Randy would say, we are adjourned.
Adjourned. Leave meeting.